guys, it's Mia here, and welcome back once again to another movie review. Now, you guys know that I just recently finished The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. Well, today, because I told you guys I wanted to do another thing like I did with the Twilight series and do the book, the movie, the book, the movie. Well, that's what we're doing today. I'm going to be talking about The Hunger Games. Now, this is a rather long movie, being 2 hours and 22 minutes long. So it is not that quick of a movie to watch. So you gotta go for that. It's not a quick one to watch if you're looking for a quick movie. You gotta sit down and plan to watch it. But I feel like this is one of the best book-to-movie adaptations that I have seen in a long time. Because I just finished this like 2 days ago at this point before watching the movie today. And so I have the book fresh in my head as I was watching the movie. And I feel like the director of this movie really cared about the book when they were making the movie, because it genuinely shows. And that's why the movie is so long, because they wanted to fit as much of the story from the book into the movie as they possibly could. And with that, I feel like they did a really good job with the cast selection. You got Jennifer Lawrence, you got the one who plays Peter Malark, and who is in a bunch of other stuff that I always seem to enjoy him in, although I'm blanking on his name right now. So, not only did they have great casting from Cinna to Effie to our main two characters, but it was just such great casting, and everyone played their roles really well. And so I feel like they did a great job not only caring about the story, but choosing actors and actresses that would best reflect the characters they're playing as. Like, I feel like Katniss was made to be played by Jennifer Lawrence because she's got that same sort of body type. Now, obviously, Jennifer Lawrence isn't malnourished, and even though Katniss is said to feed herself and be a good hunter, she's still very small and very malnourished. So that's obviously not going to happen unless they starve Jennifer Lawrence, which is not a good thing to do. So I'm getting ahead of myself. So it starts out like the book did, showing how the districts are poor and how they work their fingers to the bone in order to survive, to thrive, and to live. And then it shows you how Katniss is a hunter, how she goes out past the district fence when that's against the law. And this is a law that is punishable by death. But because Katniss's father taught her to hunt, she knows that she needs to provide for her family, or else they are all going to starve. Her, her mother, and her sister. So she breaks these laws on a daily basis, going out beyond the fence and finding her stashed bow and arrow in order to feed herself and her family, along with her best friend Gale, who also helps in hunting and trapping. So in order to keep themselves going, she trades some of the meat that she gets from the hunting to the black market, I guess you could call it. And it spends a good deal of time showing her skills in hunting and the differences between the districts and the capital. And then you get to the reaping, which is where they go to select the tributes for the Hunger Games. And this is where you can tell that they genuinely cared about what they were making, because there's a part where everyone that's eligible for the Hunger Games, everyone from 12 to the age of 18, is walking up to the assembly, and there is no music, there is no one talking, there is no background noise other than them walking and getting in line for the assembly. And that makes it more immersive than having music over that, where someone else would say, oh, this is boring, let's add some like whimsical dramatic music over it. But they don't. It's just dead silence, nothing but footsteps. And it's that way through the entire presentation. During the assembly, all you can hear is Effie talking. Everything else is silent. And that is great to do on the director's part because it shows how just full of dread this whole scenario is. And it makes you dread the situation they're in, and you're not even there. You're sitting in the comfort of your living room or wherever watching the movie. So the way that they used sound design, only putting in music when it was absolutely necessary, like the action scenes to make you feel like that adrenaline, the like beginning where there's this soft, mellow singing. Other than that, they use silence. They pull you in with silence and just letting the noises that would naturally happen. And that's something I really enjoyed because it made it that much more immersive. It made it that much more realistic. The one thing that started to bug me is when characters are fighting, like when Katniss was fighting, not Foxface, the girl who was with Cato, and they were fighting toward the end of the games. Like, there's a constant shaky cam during the battles, and it kind of makes me dizzy, and like, I have to look away because the camera is shaking so much, it's messing with my eyes. And I think that I read that the reason they did the shaky cameras during the action was not only to make you feel like the mixed emotions that the characters were, but because what was going on was so violent, they needed to do that in order to keep the PG-13 rating. So that's understandable, I get that, but it was very disorienting. But like in terms of when Katniss was stung by the Tracker Jackers, her vision was pulsing in and out and going all hazy. The camera did that so we could feel how she felt. And then when I forgot now. And then when Katniss explodes the food, there's just nothing but a silent ringing and a muffled screaming. Like, that's putting us in the position of the character, and I love that the director does that. Now, the actual games of the movie do not start until almost an hour and 8 minutes in. So the rest of it is just like the book, where it's setting up like the poor of the districts, introducing us to Katniss, our main character, setting up the reaping and them going through training and all of that stuff. Which, that beginning, it seems like it would drag, but because of the camera work, because of the sound design, because of the set design, you don't really notice all of that. Plus, it's true to the book. They don't just rush you straight into the Hunger Games in the book. We get to see the whole process. So it only makes sense for the movie to show the whole process as well. Now, when you get to the games, it's like you're on the edge of your seat the whole time until the movie's over and they're sitting wherever they're sitting. I'm trying to avoid spoilers, even though the movie is so old at this point. I know there might be people that have not seen it. So, you can tell that the people, everyone involved in this, genuinely cared about what they were making because they stuck to the story. So much so that the movie ended up being 2 hours and 22 minutes long. They didn't compromise the story to shorten it. They said, we're going to make it as long as it needs to be in order to do the book justice. The one thing I will say is that the CGI has not aged very well. I mean, don't get me wrong, it does not look terrible at all, but it's kind of the least realistic thing about the whole movie. Like, especially the scene with the dogs at the climax. Those dogs are looking pretty rough. And the fire as well is where you can start to see some of the technological restraints they had back then. But that's fine. It still looks pretty dang good for it being 2021 at this point, and the movie came out in 2012. So I think that gets a pass. Now, I feel like this is honestly one of the best movie adaptations of a book I've seen in a long time. Like I'm saying, I keep saying this, but you could tell everyone involved in the project genuinely cared about what they were making. They cared about the story behind the movie. They didn't just say, let's make the movie because these books were popular and it's going to draw in some money. They were like, no, we care about the story too, so let's give actors the roles that genuinely feel like they would fit them, and let's do the story justice no matter how long the movie takes. Yeah, they had to cut corners with the shaky cam during the action. It couldn't be overly bloody because they did want a PG-13 rating because of the demographic of the books was mostly younger. So that's understandable. That gets a pass. The acting was great. The action, when there wasn't shaky cam like crazy, was amazing. The whole thing with Rue, even though I knew it was coming, it still brought a tear to my eye. And just the tension with the camera work and the way that they use the sound design, it just all comes together to immerse you into the movie, just like the book immersed you into the story. If you have not seen the Hunger Games movie, and you are someone that really loved the books, and you're afraid to see the movie because you're worried it'll butcher your book, it honestly does the book so much justice. And like I said, you can tell the people making it genuinely cared about the story they were telling. So, and this is coming from someone that literally just read the book a couple days ago. So, if you have not seen The Hunger Games yet, or if you're worried about it ruining the story, I highly recommend you go ahead and watch it because it's a great watch. When it gets to the games, it will have you on the edge of your seat and you won't be disappointed. I think it's a great story, both to book and to movie, and I'm genuinely enjoying doing this set so far much better than I enjoyed doing the Twilight set. So, I already started this. I started this at my grandma's this weekend, so I have a little bit into it, and already I can tell you that I'm already enjoying this one a lot better than this one, and I really enjoyed the Hunger Games, so that's saying something. So far Catching Fire is really good. I just wanted to get this movie review done before I continued with the book anymore, because I didn't want to accidentally mix up this book with the Hunger Games movie review. And like I said, I have not read Catching Fire yet, so this is a first time read, whereas the Hunger Games was a second time read. Alright, what are your thoughts on the movie below? I tried to do this without spoilers, but if you want to give me your thoughts on the movie below, please try to do so without spoiling it for those people who have not seen it yet. Alright, I'll shut up now. Hope to see you next time. Bye, guys.